What's up, Dub Nation? Hello, YouTubers. Here I am in New Orleans, walking to a bus stop. I just had some lunch over at the Sweet Soul Food. Vegan soul food. Really good. Had a cheat day, actually. I'll Instagram it. Had some bread pudding, which is the cheat. Look at that. I love churches in the middle of nowhere. So I'm going to go through yesterday's Instagram story. Here we go. Without further ado. Oh, but first, a little humble brag. We had E40 retweeting us the 50 Cent IG post where he was wearing a Warriors cap. Yeah, I was delayed majorly at Oakland to Dallas and then Dallas to New Orleans. But luckily the Warriors team plane was also delayed as they didn't leave until pretty late. But luckily DFW happens to be one of the best airports that I've been to. Now Jazz Fest is happening in New Orleans right now, and so it's causing a mess at the airport. So the shuttle driver, I actually chose a shuttle instead of an Uber because Uber was surging like $50 just to get to downtown. Shuttle was half as much, but we ended up being held up in traffic anyway. At least we got a little tour of some pipelines and cemetery that we passed by. But amazingly, I kept refreshing my Twitter feed to see if practice had started and anybody was interviewing anyone. Nobody did. And I got there to Smoothie King Center, which is right next to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, and we were in good shape. So Steph and KD were down at the other end shooting around, and all the big guys were on the near end. So we got to see some of the bigs in action, got to see Draymond shooting threes from the corner up close. There was a little conference here with big men. I don't know what they were talking about. And then I got a few shots of Steph, obviously. At first, some people thought that he wasn't there, but then we saw that he was way down there. Steve Kerr was asked about his assistant coaches like Mike Brown and Luke Walton before him, and even Jaron Collins getting interviewed, and he joked a little bit about that. Also, Marcus Thompson trying to ask about starting lineups, and Kerr said, well, Draymond's starting, and then called MT an instigator. So we've got Chef and Slim, that's what I like to call them, on our YouTube channel, so be sure to check that out. I'll leave a link in the description. And we had Marcus Thompson with Sean Livingston, so perhaps there's an article coming there. Howard Beck of the New York Times with a really long interview with Draymond. I think that was Howard Beck, New York Times. One thing I noticed about KD, he was doing a lot of really sharp jab steps and whatnot, just so deadly at 7 feet. This is not representative of those jab steps, and I didn't get it on YouTube, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that. But we do have his full interview on YouTube again, and he talks about Charles Barkley. They did not buy into his apology, so check that out. Meanwhile, Klay yelled shortbread again, but it was by himself and about 10 rows up, and Steph was on the other side of the court. So I thought that was so funny. And Klay's a lot like me, kind of antisocial, kind of likes to just keep to himself. There he is again. So I had a kick out of that while we were doing KD and while Steph was on the other side of the court. I think it worked. The shortbread yell. That should be a Warriors trade secret. We can't give that away because, opponents will just yell shortbread and force the Splash Brothers to miss. Anyways, Zaza was giving Looney some tips on tutoring on how to defend the post and everything, and I thought that was awesome because Zaza such a class act. I mean, Looney is the guy that took all his minutes in the playoffs, and here he is giving him more pointers. So Zaza, what a true professional, what a true teammate. And again, the theme about the assistant coaches, Connor Letourneau over there interviewing Mike Brown, so we might see a piece about that coming out soon. And Steph didn't have the same type of hops as he would, coming back from 5 weeks. So it's a few days after the fact, and we got pretty much all of it on YouTube for you as well. So check that one out. So here's where I noticed that Beck was still with Draymond for a while. Steph was talking to Ron Adams about something. Ron always has some tidbit that he can give guys, and we live streamed on Instagram most of the Steph Curry interview. It was about 5 minutes of live stream, 9-minute total. And here, Mo Spates got a shout out when someone asked Curry about the Game 3 shot back in 2014-15, and Mo on Twitter retweeted us. So shout out, Mo. Love you, man. And clearly Dub Nation still loves you, as seen in the replies on that tweet. And Mercedes-Benz Superdome got out by like 10 o'clock p.m. because practice was really late. So that made the first trolley stop that I went to pretty creepy because of these little statues of kids. So yeah, that was creepy. But once I got in there, one of my favorite things to do is ride trolleys, and New Orleans has one as well. Headed over to the French Quarter, ate at a place called Oceana Grill. Had some catfish there. Just really exciting times, especially it being Jazz Fest. So there were a lot of people in the French Quarter, and I had to sort of navigate around with my luggage with me. But yeah, it was just pretty much lit all over. So New Orleans is so unique, the French architecture and all that. So I'm going to end it here just like we ended it from our live stream, inside of Smoothie King Center. Give you a look here on our very choppy video, which I had to get a copy of this from our live stream because I lost the original. Sorry guys, but I'm gonna say goodbye right now. Here I am as a motorcycle races past me here at the bus stop in New Orleans. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and we'll see you soon.